Hey folks, Crazy Climber 80 here again. And this time we're going to look at a game called Cyvern. And this was created by Kaneko in 1998. And before I saw this in MAME, I did not know that Kaneko was still around in 1998. But I guess it was. And this was suggested by YouTube user Mongoarcademan. And it's not that great a shooter, really. I don't think great to shoot 'em up. It's kind of interesting that there are dragons that are the characters that you can use, or the flying vehicles that you can use. They're actually dragons, and there's 3 of them you can choose from. There is Altair, Schwartz, and Ferious, and there are the typical 2 buttons you can use. There's a button to fire, and there's a secondary bomb weapon. And there's various weapon power-ups you can collect. The game itself is just okay, I think. I don't think it's that wonderful. It does venture into the bullet hell territory. Sometimes the enemy shots are all over the place. But yeah, it says the dragon weapons as the secondary title. But yeah, you have a charged shot as well. Notice at the top left it says Banish, and there is a meter. You fill that meter up by just shooting at the enemies by repeatedly pressing the fire button. And once that bar is full, then you can just hold down the fire button and you'll unleash a really big flamethrower type weapon. Probably just the dragon's flaming breath. And that meter will eventually run out if you keep that button held down. You can release the button, and then that meter will stop where it's at, and then you can refill it by just regular shooting at enemies. There will be some ground targets where you can pick up gold bars from when you destroy them. And depending on how far up the screen they are when you destroyed them, you might get better weapons, or not weapons, better bonus items than just gold bars. Some of the enemies will yield a floating crate that says P on it. That's your major power-up, or maybe that strengthens your side weapon. There will be like a little secondary weapon that shoots out of you when you fire. Might be homing missiles or something like that. But there are also little icons that you can, little weapon up icons, say something like 1P on it or something, and those will, I guess, strengthen your main weapon. And you can collect extra bombs. We will look at all 3 characters eventually. And there is my Banish charge shot there. And again, you refill that meter by just regular shooting at the enemies. Even on the first level, there's at least hints of bullet hell. Bomb I used. Yeah, I'd never seen this in arcades. I wasn't really hanging around arcades in the late 90s anymore. I kind of stopped near the mid 90s, maybe a little earlier. And that's the end of the first boss. It wasn't that tough. The game spikes big time in difficulty right around the second boss. The game gets a million times harder. I'm just not a big fan of this. This is just too dull. There's no interesting cutscenes in between stages. No anime scenes at the end involving an epilogue for your characters. Nothing like that. No real flash. The graphics are very nice, I've got to admit. They're just certain pizzazz the game kind of needed that it lacks. Definitely never heard of this in arcades before MAME came along. But yeah, the second boss, the difficulty really spikes. But there are a total of 5 levels. After I died. Yeah, you release a bunch of weapon power-ups, which is nice when you die. And if you need to use a continue, you pick up right where you left off, which is always nice. And you can collect all those released power-ups even if you select a different dragon fighter. This is not the first game, the first shoot 'em up to feature a dragon as a enemy vehicle type of craft. I can think of what was it called, Dragon Spirit. It came out way before. But yeah, this was created by Kaneko in 1998, and again, I didn't know Kaneko was still making games at that time. Probably my favorite game of theirs was DJ Boy for the Sega Genesis. I really liked that game. It was much better than the arcade game, I thought. And this fight is not over. The fight gets much harder at this point. The boss turns into like this flying battle platform. Oops. Yeah, that thing, that laser will automatically kill you. Well, any shot will often automatically kill you. And this guy shoots these missiles he can do a wide circle around to avoid. Oh, stay out of the way of that. But yeah, this boss is like a million times harder than anything I'd seen to this point. Ah, those missiles got me. I didn't think they would. Well, I'll put in my initials. I will show you later parts of the game in a little bit. But again, this was suggested by YouTube user Mongoarcademan. I'm still taking requests if you got any. I've got a handful more to do, and then I'm gonna run. Well, there's still a bunch of requests I have written down, but they did not work in the version of MAME that I have. I'm scooting forward so you can see me kill this guy. Here is the green dragon. And again, there is Altair, there is Schwartz, and there is Ferious. Those are the 3 dragons you can choose from. The green one, which I think was Ferious. I think Altair was red, and I think Schwartz was blue, and I think Ferious was green. Maybe I like Ferious best. I like his missiles as the side weapon. But yeah, I'll show you snippets of the remainder of the levels. There's a total of 5 stages, and this is the 3rd one here, I believe, that I'm on. I eventually put on invincibility, and I think later on, infinite bombs. I like the sound effects of these dragonflies you're killing. I think they're dragonflies. Dragonflies in a non-Capcom game. And yeah, the dragonfly was one of many icons that were often seen in Capcom games back in the 80s and 90s. There's Ferious' charged shot. And once again, that Banish meter, you fill it up by just repeatedly hitting the fire button and hitting your enemies with the shots. That fills up the Banish meter. And then when there's at least some life on that meter, you can hold down the fire button and you'll just emit a steady laser of some sort, or a flamethrower. And you can take your thumb off the button or finger off the button and stop that meter part way, and then build it back up by shooting the enemies. Yeah, there's no rapid fire other than the charge attack, so you have to keep hitting the button. I just wanted you to see the enemy bosses and some of each stage. I think there's like one shot that some of the enemies fire that you can shoot, and I think it's a blue shot. You can stop their shots in midair, but for the most part you just got to get the hell out of the way. I'm not terribly impressed by this game. I mean, it's not terrible, and the graphics are nice, but I've definitely seen better shoot-'em-ups, more interesting shoot-'em-ups. This just lacks a certain pizzazz, a certain attention getter. Yeah, there were the blue shots that you can shoot out of midair, and there's the bomb attack from Ferious. Yeah, you can shoot those shots. There will be a number of bosses that have multiple targets that you can shoot on it, and you can take out some of those targets to minimize the amount of firepower that the enemy can levy at you. That's the end of that boss. There's stage 4. But yeah, if I were into arcade games in the late 90s, I might have given this a chance, but I can't say I don't hate it by any means, but it's kind of blah in some ways. Here's maybe a mini boss. I put on invincibility cheat by this point, and I noticed that in MAME, or at least the version of MAME that I played this in, which is I think 185, maybe it was no, maybe it was later than that. There's a cheat that gives you invincibility, and if you use it, the enemy might not fire at you, or some enemies might not show up at all. It's kind of weird. But yeah, if you use cheats on this, note that it might mess up the gameplay a little bit. Bosses might not show up, or they might not shoot at you. But that is just a mini-boss there. That's not the final boss. And yeah, it didn't attack me, so I'm thinking that maybe that was because I had the cheat on, the invincibility cheat. But again, a number of these ground enemies will leave like gold bars for you, but depending on how high up on the screen they were when you destroyed them, they might give you better icons. There are like larger larger icons that will give you a lot more points. And here is the boss of level 4 or stage 4, and it's this, maybe not phoenix, but a giant bird that will shoot at you like crazy, and it's got these shields that rotate around it. This game will loop a second time. I mean, you'll play through all the levels and then it'll automatically start you on all of them again with increased difficulty and the enemies shooting more often with no real ending sequence. And then once you finish that second playthrough, then the game will end and you get the credits. It's really pretty dull in my opinion. I'm not a huge fan of this game. And like I said, I don't hate it, and I think the graphics are very nice. And some of the power-ups are kind of cool. I do like the missiles that Ferious can shoot, you know, along with his regular shots. But this game just lacks real pizzazz. It would have helped to have like maybe anime cutscenes of the dragons talking about their mission or whatever. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of it. Hope you enjoy your weekend. I'll probably work on another game tonight after this one's over with. Looking forward to reaching my 1,000 video milestone, and I'll have something special planned. But here is a mini boss here. This resembles a boss I faced earlier in the game. He was really hard back then. He's a little easier now. Well, especially easy because I have invincibility on. But yeah, note that using the invincibility cheat might kind of backfire. Some enemies might not show up. Some enemies might not shoot at you. Just kind of a weird effect. Well, he just levied a bunch of shots at me. Thank God for invincibility. Yeah, at some point on in this game I put on infinite bombs too. I just wanted to get through the game quicker. Yeah, some of the enemies, especially like in the second loop, this will be the final boss here. So, some of the enemies, especially in second loop, will grant you some of those big bonus items. Now here, there were supposed to be these enemies that looked like sperm attacking me, and they didn't show up right here because I had the invincibility cheat on. So it produces weird results sometimes, having that invincibility cheat. But look at all that firepower! Holy crap! Yeah, those little sperm-like things were supposed to show up earlier. But here you're supposed to destroy all these things here on the side, but mostly the thing in the glass case, whatever it is. I don't really know anything about the background story or anything about this game. All I really know is that I don't think it's that great a game. It's not over. Broke out of the glass case, but it's still attacking, and it can shoot a whole lot of firepower at me. But it's no match for my invincibility, so there. You'll hear this voice say something, and I'm not sure what what it is, but it indicates you got a free life by passing a certain point total. Sorry I have to kick your ass, but God, look at all that firepower. Good gravy. Bullet hell indeed. And now it's dead. And just like that, loop through all the stages again. Well, we're not gonna go through all of that. We will look at the ending sequence in just a moment. But yeah, like I said, the second time through, I think you're more likely to get more lucrative bonus items from ground enemies. Hey, like that one up there. They could be up to like, I think, 10,000 points a piece, which is really nice. And now here's me beating the second boss, or the boss the second time through, so we can see the ending. And that is Cyvern by Kaneko in 1998. Kind of interesting little shoot 'em up, but really lacks some pizzazz that it needed. But the graphics are very nice, and it is kind of cool to get those lucrative bonus items. Again, that might depend on how far up the screen those ground targets are when you destroyed them, whether you get a wussy little gold bar or if you get a nice big bonus point item. Could be 10,000 points or so. But that was Cyvern by Kaneko in 1998. Yeah, I didn't know they were still making games at that point. That is Cyvern by Kaneko in 1998. Shoot 'em up with dragons. Well, this is Crazy Calamity, and thanks for watching Cyvern. And it was suggested by Mongoarcademan. I will see you later with another video. Have a good weekend, everybody, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.